Hey guys, I want to read another story for you. It's When I Was Young in the Mountains. It's by one of my favorite authors, Cynthia Rylant, who's from West Virginia. The illustrator is Diane Goode. A lot of her memories are the same memories I have of coming to Cape Bridge, coming to our farm here when we lived down in just outside of Washington, but we would spend every weekend up here, and I'd spend several weeks every summer here with Mom's mom and dad, my grandparents, and of course Dad's vacation we would always spend here. They talk about the outhouse and skinny dipping, going to the old store down at North River Mills, all the smells, the pitcher pump. That's how we got our water. We didn't have bathroom or running water. Taking a bath in the old tub, the little old church down at North River Mills, playing jump rope with a snake. My sisters and I, grandmother and Mom, seems like they were almost always working crops or darning, or of course sitting on the porch listening to the Bob White, the whippoorwill. So I hope you like it. When I was young in the mountains, Grandfather came home in the evening covered with black dust of a coal mine. Only his lips were clean, and he used them to kiss the top of my head. When I was young in the mountains, Grandmother spread the table with hot cornbread, pinto beans, and fried okra. Later, in the middle of the night, she walked through the grass with me to the Johnny house and held my hand in the dark. I promised never to eat more than one serving of okra again. When I was young in the mountains, we walked across cow pasture and through the woods carrying our towels. The swimming hole was dark and muddy. We sometimes saw snakes, but we jumped in anyway. On our way home, we stopped at Mr. Crawford's for a mound of white butter. Mr. Crawford and Mrs. Crawford looked alike and always smelled of sweet milk. When I was young in the mountains, we pumped pails of water from the well at the bottom of the hill and heated the water to fill round tin tubs for our baths. Afterward, we stood in front of the old black stove shivering and giggling while Grandmother heated cocoa on top. When I was young in the mountains, we went to church in the schoolhouse on Sundays and sometimes walked with the congregation through the cow pasture to the dark swimming hole for baptisms. Cousin Peter was laid back into the water and his white shirt stuck to him, and my grandmother cried. When I was young in the mountains, we listened to frogs sing at dusk and awoke to cowbells outside our windows. Sometimes a black snake came in the yard and my grandmother would threaten it with a hoe. If it did not leave, she used the hoe to kill it. 4 of us once draped a very long snake, dead of course, across our necks for a photograph. When I was young in the mountains, we sat on the porch swing in the evenings, and Grandfather sharpened my pencils with his pocket knife. Grandmother sometimes shelled beans and sometimes braided my hair. The dogs lay around us and the stars sparkled in the sky. A bob white whistled in the forest. Bob? Bob White? When I was young in the mountains, I never wanted to go to the ocean. I never wanted to go to the desert. I never wanted to go anywhere else in the world, for I was in the mountains, and that was always enough. That was When I Was Young in the Mountains by Cynthia, Rylant, and Diane Goode. Hope you like the story. Love you, Piper, and Memphis, and Ellie. Jan on the go-kart Dad made. See the garage that was across from the barn. Look how different the fields look going up the hill. There's my sisters and old Mike out on the front porch. Cousins and Jan in front of the old chicken coop. See the outhouse. And off the cousins Kimmy and Hal. Dad used to take us for rides on this old wagon. There's my grandparents. You can see the old Jeep behind them. There's our Uncle Lyle with their pet deer. There's Jam with one of our the snakes we may have played jump rope with. There's Mom and Dad. Dad with his shooting iron, whiskey jug, even though he didn't drink.